Alright guys, latest loves. Today's video is all about my latest and greatest fragrances. Some fragrances that are new that I haven't spoken about on the channel. Some that I'm going to be reviewing coming very soon. Some I have discussed and really said how great they are, but these are 12 of my latest loves. Find out about them coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yeah, today I'm talking about my latest and greatest fragrances, ones that I've been really enjoying a lot lately, ones that I really love the way they smell. And you know, some of these are freshies. We're going into summer, so they're going to be perfect for warmer days, but still there's some really dark and sweet and more wintry kind of fragrances in the mix here, but all great fragrances approved by me. All of these are approved by me. Before I let you know what they are, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So let me know what you're enjoying lately. What are some of your latest and greatest fragrances that you're really loving? Let's get started. This one keeps coming up. I've mentioned it a couple times since Friday. Thomas de Monaco's Raw Gold. I heard that it sold out. I'm not sure if it was because of my review, but I'm obsessed with this particular fragrance. I absolutely love its honeyed experience with its animalic qualities, ambery balsamic experience, and lots of patchouli. So this is a more recent launch. It's considered an amber woody, sweet, musky fragrance, and it features notes of Opoponax, patchouli, honey, suede, tonka beans, coffee, civet, and liqueur. It does have this kind of like light, grassy, earthy, barnyardy kind of experience without the animals I was mentioning in the review, and I think that comes from the vetiver and coffee notes together up top. Eventually there's some muskiness and some animalic qualities from civet in here, but it's very honeyed. You've got a lot of honey here and a lot of patchouli for a very gorgeous, beautifully, very long-lasting fragrance experience. I heard it sold out, but I think they're going to get some more in. This is Raw Gold from Thomas de Monaco. Go catch my full review of that one. I do really enjoy it. I think it's one of my favorite fragrances. In fact, over the weekend, my favorite fragrances from the 2020 so far, that was featured in there. Alright, moving on to the House of Cartier. This is Declaration Haute Fraîcheur, this one right here. This is nothing in relation to the original Declaration, but it's a great flanker. I don't get much of the original, except for the fact that it has a cardamom. Cardamom was a prominent note in the original, so it's here. But for me, this is more about Petitgrain. Green, bitter, citrusy, woody, earthy leaves of the bitter orange tree. That's what this fragrance is mostly about for me. So I would call this an aromatic, spicy, green, woody fragrance with Petitgrain, cardamom, cedar. Those are pretty much the only notes they list. You do get a citrusy touch. You do get a little bit of an ambery dry down, but it's very woody, very spicy, pungent cardamom, very bitter, green, citrusy, and woody leaves. If you like the idea of bitter green citrus like lemon or orange trees for this particular fragrance, for example, I think you should definitely try this one. It wears great. It's eau de toilette, so it doesn't have the most potency, but smells really great. So Cartier Declaration Haute Fraîcheur is a great new fragrance I'm enjoying a lot lately. This next one will be reviewed very soon. It's another one that I'm really enjoying. It's from the house of Parle Moi de Parfum. This is Wake Up World. Are you guys familiar with this one? This is totally very nostalgic fragrance for me, and I'll let you know why it's nostalgic for me when I do the review, because to me this is a fragrance that reminds me of something I wore back in the very early 90s. I wore it around 93, 92, 93. Something really great. But this is a sweet, warm amber fragrance. I would call this an amber fougere fragrance with bergamot, green apple, Damascus rose, vanilla, tonka beans, benzoin, ambroxan, and then a very complicated synthetic note that is used in here to give you that kind of fougere-like note, lavender and the citruses. But you know, as I said, it's very nostalgic fragrance for me. It's actually created by a perfumer Michel Almerac, who created another one back then in the 90s that I wore, and so it reminds me of that particular fragrance, but I'll go into more detail when I do the review. But this is a great launch, very, very nostalgic, reminds me of when I was around 22 years old. So this is Parle-moi de Parfum, Wake Up World. Moving on to the house of Celine, this is Black Tie. Do you guys know this one? So this is Celine's vanilla fragrance, but it's very powdery and a little leathery as well. There's some ambery, woody touches under there, but really gorgeous, but still very similar to their other fragrances. It features lots of Orris, so it's very powdery, but it's also subdued, so it's a little close to the skin. But if you like those kind of fragrances, definitely I recommend this one, because the vanilla is kind of smoky in here. So I would call this a vanillic, powdery, amber, woody fragrance with vanilla, Orris, cedar, moss, and musk. And I think we're getting the smokiness from that moss note or the oak moss note in here, or whatever it is coming from. Could be that there's some resins or some incense or some Opoponax or frankincense or myrrh or something like that in here as well. But it's a gorgeous fragrance. Black Tie from the house of Celine, a great smelling fragrance. So this next one's another one that I will be reviewing very soon, as long as you guys are up for a review. This is from the house of Louis Vuitton. This is City of Stars. Finally, it's in my hands, and yep, this is a very tropical experience. I think it's a little geographically, it's a little confusing because I don't get much tropical experience down in the south of Southern California, where this is inspired from, you know, Hollywood and things like that. It's a very tropical experience for me. I would call this a fresh, citrusy, tropical floral fragrance with tiare flower, sandalwood, blood orange, lemons, mandarin, bergamot, lime, and musk. You know, it's a very citrusy, it's a very fresh fragrance, but that tiare flower is so prominent here. It gives you that kind of tropical, beachy kind of experience. It's totally there, but it's loaded with citruses. Lots of them, with this blood orange, the lemons, the mandarin, and everything. And there's a little bit of a creaminess under there. There's that creaminess from that sandalwood note, which kind of complements the creaminess from the tiare flower. There's a little bit of a milky kind of coconutty thing happening in here as well. There is a little bit of a suntan lotiony kind of experience as well, but very beachy fragrance. It's much more beachy than their previous fragrance, On the Beach, which came out before this in this collection. This is City of Stars from Louis Vuitton. Just also wanted to let you know, Fleur de Desert, I found out, will not be launching here in the States, not until the summertime. At least that's what I was told. I think this is speculation still, not really 100%, but according to my sales associate, it's exclusive to the Middle East currently, as initially, originally that collection was launched as a Middle East exclusive collection, but eventually they brought it everywhere. So I think that's what they're doing with these darker bottle collection fragrances from Louis Vuitton. So we'll eventually get Fleur de Desert here, but not anytime soon from what I was told. So either way, this is Louis Vuitton's City of Stars, the latest fragrance from Louis Vuitton. Moving on to MIZENSIR, this is Ambre Magique, this one right here. I recently reviewed this one. This is still not a fragrance that's sold here in the States. It's not launched yet by MIZENSIR USA. It's a European exclusive, I believe, but I'm assuming it'll soon come here. But this is a warm, spicy, amber floral fragrance with lots of rose, and there's cachalox, vanilla, and a bunch of other synthetic notes in here. And there's also cardamom and orange blossom. But to me, it's a very ambery experience, a little bit of Ambroxan-y experience in here as well. But the combination is very spicy and very rosy as well. So you've got this rosiness contrasted with the ambery experience in here. Anyway, it's great fragrance, great smelling, different kind of an amber fragrance, but a very rosy kind of an ambery fragrance. So Ambre Magique from the house of MIZENSIR, great smelling fragrance. Moving on to a fragrance that I think probably does not get a lot of love. I think this brand is not a very hyped brand, but they do launch a lot of fragrances, and also it's a designer, but they don't get a lot of love as a designer. Most people consider them as a niche house, but they have some very original fragrances. It's the house of Comme des Garçons. This is Mirror by Cause, this one right here. Anybody know about this one? So they launched this just before they launched Marseille, and Marseille is that soapy kind of an experience with orange blossom and neroli. This one also features orange blossom. This one has a very floral, citrus floral experience. I would call this a powdery, spicy, amber floral fragrance with powdery notes, orange blossom, sinfonide, cashmere, and neroli, turmeric, and benzoin. So it's got the neroli and it's got the orange blossom, but it's completely different than Marseille from Comme des Garçons as well. This one does have that spiciness fruitiness from the turmeric. You do experience that here, contrasted nicely. It suits the orange blossom and the neroli experience. And then you've got the powdery notes. It's a very, very powdery experience. And for me, neroli orange blossom does have a powderiness, but they've amped up the powdery experience in here quite a bit, in addition to the powderiness from those flowers. And then in the base, it's a little ambery and resinous from that benzoin note. So Comme des Garçons Mirror by Cause, check that out. I really enjoy that one. And actually, when I want Marseille and I want a little twist to it, I kind of go to that fragrance. It's interesting that they also launch those back to back as one brand, kind of similar. Anyway, moving on to the House of Javoy, it's Fire at Will. Fire at Will is that really fluffy, yummy, sweet, vanillic and musky, vanilla fragrance. I would call this a sweet vanillic amber fragrance with vanilla, brown sugar, amber, musk, mimosa, vetiver. There's some light almondy touches in here. A little yellow floral kind of experience comes in from the mimosa to enhance the sweetness and, provide a honeyed-like experience against the vanilla. But there's also lots of muskiness in here. I also get like sugar cookies kind of experience, a very sweet vanillic kind of sugar cookie experience. Eventually it settles to kind of a woody, grassy, earthy vetiver experience, becoming an ambery vanilla fragrance. But a beautiful fragrance. This is Fire at Will from the House of Javoy. Very, very delicious if you haven't tried it yet. If you love vanilla, you've got to try that one. It's a very, very, pure vanilla with some enhancements to it, kind of a thing. I'm going to recommend a few older releases that I've been enjoying as well, because most of the fragrances that I'm talking about today are ones that are new launches that I've been enjoying, but a few discoveries that are older that I'm enjoying. One from the House of Narciso Rodriguez. This is For Him EDP. Everything that I've spoken about so far has been unisex targeted. This one, even though it's male targeted, I think it can be pulled off by women as well, but it's great smelling. Take on the original Narciso Rodriguez For Him, which was a violet forward fragrance with a violet leaves note there, along with violets. This one's a musky, powdery, soft, spicy fragrance with musk, violet, iris, pink pepper. So there's some light spices there, but it feels like there's traditional musk in there. So I feel like if you take the original Narciso Rodriguez For Him and then enhance it with something like Kiehl's original musk, you get this kind of a musky take on Narciso Rodriguez For Him. It's very, very sexy. It's the EDP. I quite like this one, and it's a great discovery. I had originally, discovered the original fragrance, which came out mid-2000s, but totally skipped the EDP. Now I'm glad I have it. So Narciso Rodriguez For Him in the EDP concentration. Moving on to the second new discovery. Although I knew about this fragrance, I bought a used bottle from somebody, not very used though, they hadn't used a lot of it. This is from the House of Parfumum Roma, Ambra Aurea. This is it right here. A great smelling fragrance. Really, really resin. Lots of resins. And very, very smoky amber. If you like your amber fragrances, very smoky. Kind of almost going to the same direction as Ambre Fetiche from the House of Goutal. Annick Goutal, then you would like this one. It's like taking Ambre Perso from Maître Parfumé at Gantier, adding a lot of smoke and resins to it. But this is a warm, spicy, balsamic amber fragrance with amber, incense, and myrrh. So it's very, very resinous. Lots of amber. Most likely they're using labdanum, which is already a very smoky, resinous ingredient. So the whole entire fragrance comes off very smoky, a little churchy, but very sweet and balsamic. Delicious fragrance, Ambra Aurea. This is probably one of the best ambers out there, but definitely you got to enjoy smoke. If you like fragrances like Le Lion from Chanel, just imagine the smokier parts of that fragrance, or the smokiest, parts of life on you. That's how that particular fragrance would wear. So the next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about, I've been enjoying, is Dausson from the House of Diptyque in the new blue bottle. You guys familiar with it? They have a whole new launch of blue colored glass bottles in the Dausson and Tuberose collection of fragrances. I've been wearing this because I got to save this one, but I've been really enjoying wearing Dausson lately. If you like floral fragrances, especially with Tuberose, this one's also, enhanced with orange blossom and jasmine. So it's a who's who of white flowers, and it's basically, served with white flowers served in a bottle form. It's very fresh. It's also very creamy because those flowers are definitely a creamy experience, but it's a great, great Tuberose fragrance, probably as good as something like Carnal Flower from the house of Frederic Malle. But this is a limited edition version in the blue bottle, and I think you guys should check it out. I highly recommend this one. It's limited edition that you'll buy your bottle and then eventually it'll sell out. I think Diptyque's doing a lot of limited edition releases lately, which I guess they're trying to get people to go to their fragrances, but eventually it'll still be around as a regular eau de parfum bottle. But if you like the idea of tuberose with white flowers, orange blossom, and jasmine, definitely check this one out. It's Dosan in the EDP concentration. Another one that I recently reviewed from the house of Frappin, this is 1270 Extreme, this one right here. You know, I was expecting this to be a lot more extreme, but in the end it turned out to be a fruity floral, fresh gourmand kind of a thing, you know? It's sweet, it's fruity, it's floral, it's a gourmand fragrance with pineapple, jasmine, sambac, wine flower, apples, rose, patchouli, tonka beans, vanilla, gaiac wood, bergamot. It wears really, really delicious. It's kind of like taking the original Frappin 1270 and adding flowers to it, removing the dried fruits that existed in the original, adding fresh fruits to it, making it a little crispy, you know, crispy, like have a crunchiness from the apples. There's apples in here, and then that sweet tartness from the pineapple, and then that's what they've given us. So it's not necessarily uber extreme to me. In fact, I would wear this one when it's warm outside, because it wears kind of very, very fresh to me, and I like the combination of the fruity floral touches this particular fragrance has. Either way, this is 1270 Extreme from the house of Frappin, and that's the last fragrance for you guys. What are your thoughts on these fragrances? Have you tried them all out yet? Do you enjoy them, or are you curious to try them anytime soon? They're really, really great fragrances, really, really approved by me, so I hope you guys get to try them. Either way, if you have a favorite new fragrance that you're enjoying, please put a comment down so I can find out. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Alright, I do want to slip in one more bonus. This is a brand spanking new release that just came out, and I attended an event over at ZGO Perfumery recently with the house of Maison Crivelli. In fact, I got a video I shot with them, going to be launching very, very soon. This is the latest release in the extracts or X-ray collection. This is Patchouli Magnetic. So this is for anyone that enjoys room fillers, like to the max. Like if you want a fragrance to just totally take over the smell of in a room, this is definitely the fragrance to do it with. It's so intense, it's so potent, it's overwhelming. So this is the latest fragrance. I would call this a woody, earthy, floral, tropical fragrance, I would say. It's featuring gardenia, patchouli, sandalwood, benzoin, and vanilla. Eventually it settles to an ambery, vanillic, earthy, woody experience, but it's very, very, very tropical floral. Lots of creaminess here from gardenia or other tropical flowers in here, but it is so potent. I get a very medicinal kind of patchouli, not necessarily uber chocolatey, but kind of green and very, very humid. You experience the humidity in this particular fragrance. It's definitely really, really great smelling, but I do get that medicinal kind of touch, which is extracted from the type of patchouli they're using in here. Definitely doesn't go chocolate cakey, although it does have those chocolatey nuances very, very lightly under there. But I feel like the gardenia in here, very, very creamy. I find gardenias out of a lot of different white flowers to have a very creaminess, so it gives it sort of like a white chocolatey experience. So it doesn't have that kind of chocolate cakey dark chocolate experience, more like a white chocolate kind of experience, but very, very intense. It's so intense, in fact, when they were previewing the fragrance in the store at ZGO, they sprayed it. I mean, the smell was in the air among all the different perfume bottles there. So it's a very, very intense fragrance. I think you only need 2 sprays. If you like a beast mode, go for 5. Either way, the bonus fragrance, it's Patchouli Magnetic from Maison Crivelli. It's just brand new here. That's why I'm talking about it as a bonus fragrance, but I will be featuring it and discussing a lot more coming very, very soon. But either way, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for another video tomorrow. Bye-bye.